There's a lot of war news now in the headlines. I guess we went 14 consecutive nights of bombing. We did not bomb last night for whatever reason. The president is mulling over a decision for a massive attack on Iran. But there's even more stuff developing, and we're going to bring in my great friend and mentor on military matters, Aaron Cohen. Aaron Cohen's the founder of Gideon, which is AI threat detection for law enforcement, very important. But he's also Israeli special ops veteran and host of the Aaron Cohen Show, Aaron Cohen podcast. I didn't know you had a podcast. Very good. So, Aaron, first of all, thank you for this on a Saturday. We appreciate it. There's a big story in the New York Post today. U.S. moles plan to snatch enriched uranium from Iran's nuclear facilities. Would be the most sophisticated op in history. It's really something. And some of the military guys in here, let's see, Joseph Rogers is now a deputy director of the Center for Strategic and International Studies, former military guy. Anyway, they're saying it would involve thousands of ground troops storming Iran's nuclear facilities, navigating booby traps, utilizing construction crews, and maintaining a large defensive blocking force surrounding the sites. And they're talking about several sites, Aaron, Pickaxe being one of them, but let's see. Isfahan is another one. And they're talking about SEAL Team 6's Silver Squadron, 2nd Ranger Battalion, the Army's 21st Ordnance Company, et cetera, et cetera. I know you know a lot about this. Talk to me, just in your gut, how feasible is this kind of thing? How wise is this kind of thing? Could we do it, basically?
So, Larry, I served in a unit called Duvdevan in Israel. Duvdevan is the Arabist unit. It's the show that Found is based on. We dress up as Arabs to infiltrate terrorist strongholds undetected. You need a lot of grit. Israel's entire model, I want to explain why this works for the U.S. The entire special operations model, where I come from and what I'm seeing more and more with the Americans now, is creativity. When you're dealing with a suicidal regime like Iran, who's converging into homicide ideation, these people don't care really what happens at the end. It's what makes them dangerous, Larry. And so the operations have to be gritty. They have to be courageous. So regardless of how complex it is, I think President Trump has been bold. I think he was bold in Venezuela. I think he's bold now. I don't think he's afraid to weaponize his military for the good of the greater world. And I think he understands, Larry, that for almost 50 years, this regime has been fighting a shadow war against the United States. And so he went out and took out Qasem Soleimani, and he's not afraid to level these guys. Now, he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to get dragged into boots on the ground, but this is all spec ops, Larry. So I think it would be complex. One of the more complex than the U.S. has ever attempted, but you need airtight intelligence, but they've got it. Israel already has the intel, and it's America's forward operating base. They're going to share every scrap of detail of exactly where the uranium is, Larry, whether it's been moved, whether the site's been trapped. Second, the control of the airspace. Nobody's going to do that better than Trump's Air Force and Navy assets and fighter pilots. So, and then I think the special forces, Larry, in the U.S., best in the world. I really do. And I think that they can secure the facility, they can render the material safe, and they have to, and then repackage it and move it out under fire if they have to. And the reason why is because that nuclear threat has always been number one. And I like the objective, Larry. You cannot leave uranium sitting inside of a suicidal, hostile terror regime and hope diplomacy solves it.
Well, I agree with that. And we've certainly learned that diplomacy is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They're crazy religious fanatics, so that you can never believe anything they say. But this is just really interesting to me. I mean, they're talking about Special Operators, SEAL Team 6's Silver Squadron, 2nd Ranger Battalion. I think you know this. The other one is the Army's 21st Ordnance Company. That would be responsible for handling and transporting whatever amount of enriched uranium is there. Now, we don't know that. The IAEA reported in 2025, last year, that Iran had upwards of 20,000 pounds of enriched uranium. Aaron Cohen, I've never seen. I always thought it was about 1,000 pounds. They're saying 20,000. They're saying Isfahan nuclear facility. They've been well guarded, booby traps, blah blah blah. They know an invasion might come. You have to secure the perimeter around all the sites. Yeah, because they'll come. I mean, they'll come at us when we're there. So you think, has anybody ever mounted this thing? Has Israel ever done anything like this?
Larry, we rescued 106 hostages in Entebbe, Uganda. We stormed the first aircraft in 1972. We dressed up as mechanics. The United States has more combat experience in the last 20 years than it's had since coming out of Vietnam. Very big wins under this president. He's allowed them to be great. And when you've got the Israeli, listen, Larry, this operation, I want to simplify it. The success of any operation, even this one, depends on one thing: intelligence. And if you don't know exactly where the material is and what condition it's in and whether it's already been dispersed, whatever the deal is, as long as the intelligence is accurate, you're going to have a successful operation. All of the intelligence on the ground in Iran, Israel has been collecting for 50 years, Larry. They're going to open that file up to President Trump. Him and Bibi are going to have a little Zoom, a little secure Zoom through the red phone, the back phone we call it in Israel. And guess what? He's going to say, here's where it is, here's where it is, here's where it is, here's where it is. Then they're going to take it to Hegseth, who's going to take it to the generals. And they're probably all meeting in Tel Nof right now, Larry, which is the Kiryat in Tel Aviv. And sitting down, figuring out exactly what the logistics are. The U.S. has the capabilities. The Israeli Air Force has the capabilities. It's just the intelligence. Israel has it. If they attempt this operation, it's going to be beautiful. And the reason why is because it has to be bold. This regime, we just talked about this the other day. This regime, Larry, torturing the economy right now with this nonsense in the strait. You got to flip the script with these guys.
Yep.
They've got to go down.
So Bibi Netanyahu,
and they got to go down.
So Bibi Netanyahu's coming to town this week, meeting with Trump in the White House, and you know, right? So as Mr. Trump is considering a massive attack on Iran, quote unquote, a massive attack on Iran, bigger than anything we've done so far. And then you see this story in the Post. This is all leaks from the military, which is fine, that we're thinking about snatching the uranium. And the other thing is whether we would take Karg Island. Just take it, not destroy it, because it's very valuable, energy, oil, and we'll take it over like Venezuela. So Netanyahu's coming to town, and those two guys, it's like FDR and Churchill or something. They're going to plan and plot, and I think this is a good thing. But let's take Karg Island, all right? From your lights, from your experience, how difficult or how feasible is invading and taking Karg Island?
Larry, it's a good question. I think that first of all, Karg Island is the leverage piece. And I think it's an absolutely feasible military target. I think that Israel's been staring at it for a long time. I know that Trump likes the idea, and he's been toying with it publicly in the media. So the question isn't whether it can be hit, Larry. The question is whether you want to hit it with what strategic effect that you're trying to achieve. And so obviously it's their principal oil export hub. Damaging it, and this is what I think you're leaning into, would put enormous financial pressure on the regime. because the oil revenue helps fund the state, including the IRGC. Larry, you cut off their money. I mean, that is their money. Mm-hmm. But it would also have broader economic consequences also, with the global energy market. So I think it's take it. The tricky part is going to be how do you hold it?
Yep.
Holding it's going to require manpower. You can't fly drones around it like mosquitoes and no one's going to try and get in there. So the conundrum is how to carry out these operations short. Low intensity is the term for this type of conflict. Remember, Iran's been waging this against America for 50 years, Larry. Low intensity conflict has never ended. It's been going on for years, decades. So I think that Carg Island is definitely grabbable. I don't think there'll be a ton of resistance. The question is how do they set up an infrastructure that's not going to put long-term U.S. boots at risk to be able to maintain it and keep it? Maybe they don't need to hold it for very long.
Right. That's right. I think you're talking months, not years, but
I agree.
It's a Venezuela-like operation because, in terms of world economy and the price of oil, so that would end the whole Iranian stranglehold on Hormuz. If we took Carg Island.
It's over.
That's right. And we would
There's nothing. Correct.
So then we would run the oil export operation, and the money would be put in an escrow account or something. The U.S. Treasury would run. We would starve Iran. We would take the money, but we would get the oil, and the oil would come back on the market and drop oil prices. You have a big increase in the supply of oil, and that would kill the Hormuz. I'm just thinking militarily, these things are, tricky and difficult, and you can't gloss over that.
I agree with everything you said. I think that ground presence would be temporary. I think it's security objective, accomplish the mission, hang on to it for a couple of months, shock the hell out of the IRGC. I don't see any long-term American occupation of Carg Island. Potentially put in a private security team or a Blackwater-style team. The strategic value, and you just said it perfectly, is denying the regime the revenue, the leverage, not in holding Iranian territory indefinitely. So I think it's very accomplishable, and I think a couple of months of holding it might be enough to shock the regime back into a seat at the table, which is the only thing that people need to remember with the IRGC, Larry. This is suicidality right here. That's what these people. It's the same playbook we saw with Hamas in Gaza. It's like they've got to be thumped.
Yep.
Take off pressure, you lose their respect. Only thing that crazy people speak. So I say, Trump, keep pushing.
Aaron,
your operation, and let's go.
Aaron Cohen, let me take a quick break. I want, if you can wait, just a quick break. We'll talk to you on the other side. I want to talk a bit about what a massive attack means, and also covert operations, which is something I just love. Aaron Cohen, everybody, founder of Gideon, Israeli special ops veteran, great friend and mentor to everybody on these warlike operations. I'm Kudlow. We'll be right back. And we're talking about the next steps in the Iran war with Aaron Cohen, founder of Gideon, which is AI threat detection for law enforcement, very important. Aaron's an Israeli special ops veteran. Nobody knows this stuff better. So Mr. Trump is talking about a massive attack on Iran, more than anything we've seen before. I'm not sure what that means. What do you think a massive attack, greater than what we've seen before? What do you think that means, Aaron?
Well, obviously he's staging. To me, massive attack isn't really defined by the number of bombs, Larry. It's defined by the strategic effect. And so I think if Trump decides to escalate, which I think he could, the objective would be to really degrade the IRGC's ability to continue attacking the Strait. I think that's what it's going to be focused on. I think it's going to be strike packages, a lot of strike packages. I think it's going to be more bridges. I think it's going to be designed to permanently change the IRGC's calculus, Larry, without knowing exactly what the packages are. But I got to think it's going to be a very intense wave. So I think that's why all that equipment is being surged over into the region. But, he does it in stages, Larry. He escalates carefully. Okay, one more chance. Have a look. Now we've got the B-2s. We get the Fifth Fleet. Everybody's refueled. All the missiles are restocked. We've got Lucky Palmer's new missile, right? So I think it's in stages, but I think it could be a very intense wave that could last several weeks. I think he understands that compliance is what's going to change the behavior.
You talk about bridges, make it so that Iran can't get to those little islands around the Strait of Hormuz, including Karg Island, by the way. But they won't be able to get there because the bridges are cut off. It's kind of like what the Ukrainians are doing with Russia, with the Crimea and Sevastopol. They're knocking out bridges so the Russians can't get to them. So the city is isolated. And I think it sounds like that's what we're going to do in the whole Persian Gulf area because Iran has these little islands. And they use them as launching pads to stop the tankers, the oil tankers.
I agree. And I think that's all logical. I think Karg Island, again, going back to Karg, though, Larry, being that principal oil export hub, I think that's the op. I really do. I think it's time to snatch that thing. I think it's time to snatch it, hold. It's going to change everything. I think the goal, Larry, is to see, whoever's running the show right now, and I think it was confusing for Trump for a minute. Everybody, Israel killed all the leaders. The U.S. killed all the leaders. They did it together in these joint strike packages now, and so whoever's on the sublayer below kind of moves up to the top. And I really think that the economic pressure is Karg Island. I think that's going to be. How do you turn the people of Iran against the next wave of leadership that steps up into the leadership position here? I just think the cost has to be so heavy that the Iranian people are like, listen, enough. It's enough. So that's the behavior, and I think Karg Island is one of the big keys.
I'd like to see Israel start going back to the decapitation strategy.
I'm sure that's going to be discussed.
I hope that's on the table.
Well, it's not a question of if it's going to be discussed later. It's a question of how many and at what rate.
I mean, they're very good at it.
It's we have an expression in Hebrew. We pay a high price so that we have a state. Yeah. But I want to say one of the interesting pieces, Larry. And I've been talking to friends of mine in the U.S. military. I serve in U.S. law enforcement as a reservist. I've worked adjacent in the law enforcement space for 25 years here, trained SWAT teams and school resource officers and high threat response. I've been in this business for a long time and trained many military units here, dozens over the years. And they're so grateful to get to operate together and sit at Intel North in Israel and be able to conduct these joint operations with Israel. They have so much respect for Israel, and Israel has so much respect for the U.S. And between the Israeli intelligence packages and the U.S.'s might and capability, it's really something that the seniors in the U.S. military and in the IDF, it is a lot of pride cutting down Iran right now, honestly. A lot of pride. And it's not, and there's fake nonsense out there. Oh, I'm doing this for Israel. No. The Iranians have been conducting a shadow war against the Americans for almost 50 years.
And Israel.
And it's all connected. By the way, the Houthis are connected too, Larry.
Yep.
It's the maritime wing of this terrorist group.
Yeah.
People need to remember this is all connected.
All right. Aaron Cohen, thank you. We had a nice long chat today. Radio's so lovely. Plenty of time. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll see you on TV this coming week, I'm sure. Folks, we're going to take a break. That's Frank Sinatra telling us it's time for some capitalism. We got to do some commercial capitalism. And on the other side, we're going to do the stock market story. I'm Kudlow. Please stay around, folks.
Luck, let a gentleman see how nice a dame you can be. other guys you've been with.